Hello to all the CLAT and AILET aspirants of 2026. I know that you guys just gave CLAT and now you guys have AILET 2026 in a few days, which is why I asked AILET 2025 aspirants who are now my batchmates to give advice to you guys, last minute advice and all the exam day tips that they followed. And I received so many paragraphs and so many long texts where they explained what they did and what they think that you should do. So let's get started. And since there were a lot of common points, I would be covering them through 8 to 10 points because most of them had almost the same thing to share, because it's obviously no rocket science. It's almost all the same things that people follow. So yeah, I'll be covering that in this video. I'll be going in the order of which was the most commonly covered point by almost all the toppers of AILET 2025. And firstly, I would start with forget CLAT completely. This is so important. What the consortium usually does is make a very confusing paper, that it always does. But what it also does is that it releases the rank before AILET. Like during our time, it released the rank one night before. Like the next day we had AILET and one night before the ranks came, which okay, good to those people that can handle it, but many of us cannot. It's very important that you forget all about CLAT. Like, okay, you gave it, now you need to get out of its hangover, because I know that CLAT's hangover is very strong, but you genuinely need to forget how that exam went, because I'll tell you from personal experience. And I'll be covering a lot of I'll be speaking for a lot of people when I say this, that most of us who come to NLU Delhi and who do well in AILET don't do that well in CLAT. There are people who do well as well, but most of us are people who had to put behind our experience of CLAT and be okay, I need to focus on this exam right now, because it's so important to just not be affected by CLAT in that moment. It does not matter if you messed up that question, or if you marked your OMR wrong, or if you left the paper in CLAT. It's all in the past. How your CLAT went should not affect your AILET at all. AILET needs a fresh mind. It is a question heavy paper. It has 150 questions, 2 hours, and you need to not be thinking or stressing about something else during that particular exam. So this was the number one and the most commonly covered advice by almost all the people that I asked. So yeah. So the second most commonly covered point was keeping your attempts high. I cannot emphasize this enough, and the amount of people that said this and agree with me, in my batchmates also, that once if you attempt anything below 130, I think you're out of the race, because this exam is not like CLAT, which allows you admission into many colleges. This exam allows you admission into one college, which is NLU Delhi, and you need to get a certain amount of marks, in the sense that the seats are so less, so you have to perform within a certain limit. So this is a 95% accuracy exam. You cannot, if you think the paper is easy, I'd say attempt all of them. I would a lot of my batchmates attempted all the questions. I attempted 148 out of 150 questions. And if you're not attempting the questions, then it's you're not part of the race anymore. So it's very important to go with your instinct and just mark the OMR. If you are confused between 2 questions, 110% mark the OMR. If you're confused between 3, I'd say think about it a bit and then mark it. But attempts are very important. They're way more important than they are in CLAT. If you think that your accuracy is amazing, then only I would say that keep your attempts less. But that doesn't usually happen with most of us, because it's a 2-hour paper, we're a little stressed, so we can't be thinking about accuracy of every single question. Hence, I would say keep your attempts between 135 to 150, and because it gives you a buffer, it gives you a safety net, and you have an edge over others who are not attempting that much. So yeah. Another point which was very much emphasized by my batchmates was keeping a strict cut off time for every single section. This is a paper where you cannot be like casually solving any like section you pick up and like just go about it the way you want. Like I would say have like a strategy of the order of the sections, I'm sure which you guys already do. Personally, my strategy for solving the paper, like the chronological order, would be going about how the sequence was already given. So I would spend around 45 to 50 minutes on English. I would spend 10 minutes on current affairs, and my rest of my time would go on analytical and logical section. And I would make sure that I have 5 minutes left in the end to like go through the paper or see that if I'm like not attempting something, can I still attempt it or not? Because it becomes very dangerous when you like lose track of time in the paper. So even if you're not able to like finish the whole section and the time has gone, I would say leave the section, pick the next section, because it's not like you're extracting extra marks out of any section. You're getting 1 mark per question, you're getting negative marks for same like all wrong questions in the same manner. So don't dwell on any question and make sure that you are aware of the time. Now, covering an insanely important source, which I think helped me so much and a lot of the people that I asked a lot as well, was previous year papers. I think previous year papers are like the golden rule to like going about the last 3 to 4 days of AILET, because I think AILET is a very standard paper. Consortium tries to give you surprises in a very like shocking manner, but AILET will give you questions in and around the previous year questions only. So pick AILET 2022 up and from 2022 solve till 2025, and I think this and giving around like 3 to 4 more marks is the key. Do not, if you don't want to, don't calculate your marks of like the marks that you will be giving. You just have to get into the practice of sitting for like 2 hours, which I'm sure you guys already have, but like just getting better at it, just being in the like frame of mind for those 2 hours sitting and giving the paper. I think that's very important. And just give previous year papers very seriously with the environment of AILET, and like making sure that the timer is on and giving each section the time that you decided you will have to. Now, if I would like give some section wise like advice, combining all of the advices that I received and my personal also, I think English is a very, very scoring section in AILET. It is like, personally we got like passages and like questions based on it, and I found English to be one of like I think it was the easiest section in AILET 2025. So know your grammar, know your vocab very well, know the central idea of the passage and the meanings of words, which I'm already like sure that CLAT really prepared you for well. Don't go into opening new books like 2 days before the exam. No need to. It's not required. You can pick up your old mocks and, as I said, previous year question for like this particular section. You don't need like fancy materials for English. You just need to revisit what you already did, and I'm sure that you'll be fine. So the next point would be to finish current affairs within 10 to 15 minutes. Now I'll tell you why, because we have a habit in CLAT of reading passages and then attempting the questions. So giving a little more time there is pretty valid. But here we only have questions that are like one-liners. So we don't need that much of like reading. We'll just read the question and quickly go about marking it. So it's very important that you take advantage of that like thing in AILET and just solve the current affairs section pretty quickly. With regard to the revision that you'll do, I would say that a lot of people said that you can revise your own notes, revise compendiums, one-liner compendiums, which you have already done. Do not touch like a lot of new things in the last few days, because then it'll create unnecessary panic. If you have like friend groups where you have discussed GK and current affairs together, then go and revise all of that. Current affairs is a very scoring section. I think I marked personally those questions also, which I was not that sure about, and I think they were the reason that I got the result that I did. Because if I wouldn't have gone with my instinct, because like I felt that I've read this somewhere, I'm not too sure about it. I was confused between two options, and I still went for it. So I think current affairs is the make or break section. So make sure you take like advantage of that situation. With regard to like critical reasoning in the logical reasoning section, I think this also we got like very good questions on in like AILET 2025. You need to know what weakens the argument, what strengthens the argument, and here they pick up a lot from the GMAT like critical reasoning one liners also. So a lot of questions from our time came from there. Like I could feel that I have done this particular question before, or the pattern is very very similar. So make sure that you read the mini passage in critical reasoning that they've given like 2 to 3 times before making a decision. And sometimes they'll try to trick you with the options. They didn't try to trick us. It was like a little like straightforward in our time, but they might just like make the options a bit confusing, so be a little cautious with that. Otherwise, just try to read the question, focus on the question, try to correlate it with the options, and yeah. Now coming to the section that I had like sort of a love hate relationship with, which was analytical reasoning. So these are honestly easy marks because you're solving something and getting like a straight up answer out of it. But the thing is, if you're not able to solve it, it kind of clashes with your ego in the paper. I'm sure many of you can relate that, okay, why am I not able to solve it? Like I literally practiced it. And then you start solving it like 5 to 8 times, which is the wrong thing to do. Do not stay on one analytical reasoning question if you're not able to solve it. Just make sure that you are giving it like 1 to 2 chances, and if you're not able to do it, then move on to the next one and come back to it later. It's honestly like fine. A kind of like a checklist for like all the analytical reasoning topics that you should be covering in the last few days and making sure that you have practiced it. Silogs, coding, decoding, seating arrangement, blood relations, clocks, calendar, direction, and sequence and series. Make sure that like you're touching all of these topics, because these are the most probable topics to come if you would look at like all of the past year papers as well. And past year papers have a very good standard of like analytical questions, so make sure that you practice from there. Now to the most like important advice out of all is to like what to do one day before AILET and on the day of AILET. So one day before AILET, it is very very important for you to finish your revision by like afternoon or maximum evening, and then you stop like panicking about it ki, okay, whether I'm done or not. I'm sure that you've given time to this exam, you've given a lot of months to this exam, so it's fine. Make sure that you have dinner and go to sleep early, and get good 8 to 9 hours of sleep. You wake up, have a light breakfast. On the day of AILET, it's very important that you do not forget anything like that you have to take to the exam. I forgot my Aadhaar card during CLAT, which created a lot of panic till my parents got it and I was able to take it. But it creates unnecessary sort of panic, which is very much avoidable. Do not focus on the crowd on the day of the exam. This was something that my batchmates also emphasized on a lot, is that you don't have to listen to the people over there. Some people will be like, oh, मेरा क्लैट बहुत अच्छा गया, मेरा क्लैट बहुत ख़राब गया, मेरी इतनी रैंक आई क्लैट में, तेरी कितनी आई. Do not focus on all of that. It is just gossip. You can do that gossip after 2 hours. So and when you enter the exam like hall, sit on your seat and close your eyes till the paper is given and you can mark your OMR. Just close your eyes. Just meditate for a while if you can, or just like don't do anything in that point of time. And when the paper comes, honestly, just like be calm with filling your credentials, because if you fill it wrong, then it is a whole process that you have to follow, like mailing NLU Delhi and the exam like department and all of that. So that's very unnecessary. So be calm while you're filling the OMR out, and read every question properly, and like make sure that you're following your cut off time in every single section. If you're not able to solve something, skip to the next question, does not matter. And just like make sure that you're not like giving yourself pressure during those 2 hours, because those 2 hours will decide how your next 5 years look like. So that, and I'm really, really, really hoping that your exam goes well, and that I see a lot of your faces in college next year. And I hope that this video helped, and all the very, very best to all the AILET 2026 aspirants.